Hi guys, another RubberToe Assembly video of a 20 by 8 storage shed. This section is going to address the dome skylight roof tiles, how to assemble them the best way, and the doors, the left and right doors after this. Getting right to it, what's important is the window has to have this film residue, this film plastic peeled off of both front and back sides, both the top side and the bottom side of this window, because if you do not, it will crack over time, and cracks could cause water to seep through. Somehow water finds a way and it will leak, and you don't want that. So it's very important to peel both sides, because you're going to add a weather stripping that needs to adhere to both front, top side and bottom side. There, the second piece, the top side usually goes a little bit easier. So both sides are peeled, very important. And the package here contains one of these packages for each roof tile, and it has this butyl tape, which is like a weather stripping, and all these screws that are going to be used. In addition to that, the first thing you want to do is open these holes. There's a lot of holes that go all the way around where the window is going to go. As you see here, I take this screwdriver, the right small size, and I do the circular motion, as you see there, very quickly. I'm making these holes, popping them through, because there's plastic in every one, so I'm poking it through and giving it a couple of swings around so it's a nice open channel, because you're going to, in a few minutes here, put screws through there that are going to pass through the window and the weather stripping and through that hole and out to the other side. So you want it to you want it to have no obstructions holding it up. And getting right to laying down the weather stripping, the butyl tape, they give you with each package, give you just enough to get around this window. So try not to waste any, and roll it out just the way you see here. And with a nice sharp razor knife, cut the edge off right where you see there, and push your thumb down after real firmly and get that strip down. And also, that is the bottom side of the roof tile that you see there. Do the bottom side first. After you run your finger across, it's pressed in there firmly with the tape. You can peel the tape off so you can put down the two sides. This one side first, the same fashion, pushing that butyl tape down into the groove, you know, and then when you get to the edge, cut it nice and sharp there and pull it apart, and then push that tape down there with your thumb real firmly. The other side is going to be done just the same way. So you have the bottom strip down with this side strip here overlapping that bottom strip, as you see right there, and they're going to be covering the holes that you opened up. What you're going to get screws, that's okay, just covering these holes, because the screw is going to go through all of this. And then your last strip is going to go on the top line, which that is your top line right there. As you can see, that little hole at the bottom part of your screen, that represents your top of the roof tile. And so that's the last piece you're going to put on, because that you start at the top, and then all the other weather stripping pieces are underneath. That one overlaps the two sides, and the two sides, as you just saw, overlap that bottom piece. And your window tile, your window piece, is going to get put on right on that stripping that you just put down. Here is a piece I just happened to notice. It needed some deburring. That's going to be your roof pieces are going to attach to that, so you don't want any obstructions there. I just cleared that real quick on the side because I noticed it. The edge looks like it needs to be cleared too. So then you put this window on. I did it nice and quick, first shot, boom, because I've done this so many times. But you want to make sure this window is exactly set on there. Before you press it on there, I did it fairly quickly, but if you're doing this for the first time, before you press it onto that sticky weather stripping, make sure it's absolutely centered perfectly. Your edges, if you have an 1/8 of an inch overhang, it looks like on this one, on one side, make sure it's an 1/8 of an inch overhang on the other. Just make sure that window is nice and perfectly placed on there. Perfect. Because these holes that I'm running the screws through are going through the window, through the weather stripping, and out the other side, and it's going to have a little bit of a buildup of weather stripping on the threads on the other side of the screw, which you will take off, and I'll show you in a second how to do that. But if you use a stubby screwdriver when you push those screws through, it's a little bit easier. That one wasn't a stubby screwdriver, but I got them through anyways. And here is the part I just mentioned. I take off the first piece of weather stripping excess off of the threads, and then I use that to stick onto the next piece, and so on and so on. Sticking that piece onto the next piece will help adhere to it and pull that whole piece off of the threads. As you can see there, it just peels right off. You use it, stick it on there, boom, and then you peel the whole piece off and it pulls it with it and comes off. So using this method to pull off all that excess goop off of each screw is great. And you have this little snowball effect, and it all builds up. And then put it inside a bag, just like you see here, and then crimp it so it doesn't get all over the place. You don't want to step in it or put your hand in it and then put it all over pieces and on the floor. It's just a big mess. Then all you have to do, once all these threads are clear, nice and easy, so you can get a nut on there, the little cap nut. Put the washers on first, or you can do one washer and then the cap nut, and then the next washer and cap nut. You can do it like that, or just put all the washers as you just saw me do it there, and then put all the caps nuts. So I've done this a lot of times, and this is the best way to do it, folks. You're going to go through after I get all these on here. Here I got the little 3/8 deep socket and a little stubby screwdriver, or I guess this screwdriver, that's fine, will work. And it's a Phillips head I put on the screw that you push through there, all these screws that you push through there, and then a little socket on the other side you could do with a ratchet or a wrench or a screw gun, but make sure your torque is set really low, and then just go through and zip, snug them all up. You don't want that screw too tight, and you don't want it too loose either. So go all the way around and tighten them all up, just like you saw there real quick. And then once it's snugged on there, the window's on there, you want to do this. See all these open bubble areas? It looks like water can pass through. You want to seal those by pushing your thumb, just like you did with the tape a few minutes ago. Push that thumb down. See there, that open area? Water will get through there. That's why you push real firmly and just push that window down onto there so it's sticking all the way across. So you have a nice sticky bead where it's connected, so it makes a connection there. You don't want any water to find a way or a channel through there at all. Once you go all the way around, pushing that down real firmly, you know it's going to not leak. That's going to be great. I don't have any leaks because I do this, and my stuff is always perfect and never have any issues, never have any callbacks of anything that leaked so far. So that's good, and that's how you do that. Make sure that window is tight. Here I notice a little edge there that needed a little bit more cut off the edge, because this is going to connect to your roof spline later on. There's more pieces that are going to connect to this, and you don't want any obstructions holding that up, any plastic getting in the way from putting those pieces together later on down the line. So it's a nice clean edge there, and that hole looks like it's cleared. That's going to have a screw going through it, so you want everything to fit together nice like a clean puzzle. So that's one window installed into the roof panel, and there's your second one. You do the exact same way that you just did that first one. Moving on to the floors, you got your edges pieces. I already laid them all out ahead of time. Now I'm putting them together. Here I have that wall, which is a nice handy situation that will hold that first piece, and then it makes it real easy for me to push this piece on there, the second piece down, and kind of roll it in there and plug it into place and connect it. And if you do, in a situation where you don't have that wall to hold it, you just have someone stand on that first piece, or maybe put some weight on there somehow, or push it up against something else perhaps, and get those first few pieces connected because it's going to, when you put the pieces together, it's going to want to roll. Now if you see this piece, that's my middle piece. To the left there was your door hole. It's to the outside edge. That was important as well. I'll show you in a minute here, coming up probably. And then this is going to be your other middle piece on the other side, starting the next side, and then that one has to have you plug it in there just like you see, roll it. There's a nice shot of rolling it down into place, and there I'm pointing to where your holes are going to be for your doors. Very important, that outer edge and this outer edge. It's going to have a pole on the outer edge of your door that's going to swing from. Those are going to be your hinges where your doors are going to swing, so they have to be on the outside edge. If it's not, that second piece there, or even the first piece, if it's not on the outer side edge, you merely spin the floor tile piece around 180 degrees, and you'll see the hole. Oh, okay, there it is on the outside of the edge, and you plug it into place. And then the next piece, if it's not on the outer edge, you do the same thing. Flip it around the other direction if you have to. Both sides of these puzzle pieces are the same. The grooves interlock the same. And then finally get to this last piece here on this 8-piece run on a 20 by 8. the door holes are going to be automatic on the edges. The one that was up against the wall on the other side, and then this last one I put here, which is looks like where your doors are going to be. That hole and the other hole are already preset on the outside. You don't have to make sure your tiles are set. That's going to be your side door areas where it's going to swing from. But right there in the middle, there's a shot of all the pieces, and it's still pushed up against the wall on the other side. And here are your screws, 2 bags of screws for this. It's because it's a 20-foot long one. So there's your first 2 bushings. There's 2 more bushings, so there's 4 total for where the doors are going to plug into. And a whole bunch of screws that are going to connect all these pieces together. I mean, they are connected, but these screws just kind of hold them all connected in place. And you have 2 on the outer edges, 2 in the middle, and 2 on the other outer edge, all the way across each connection. And there's 2 little dent marks. You'll see the little dent marks. I don't know if you could zoom in there, but yeah, you could kind of a little bit see where the dent marks are. And you just put screws where all these little indentations are, along your middle spline and your 2 outside edges spline. And you just snug them up there. Don't drill them down too tight, just so it's nice and snug and they're connected. But you don't want any indentations too tight or mess up the plastic in any way. So all of your floor tiles are connected and screwed together. Then I'm showing you here where these bushings are going to be, where your doors are going to be. So there's one on the left, and this one lift up and plug it on the right. This is how you tuck them under, because your doors, the poles and the hinges of your doors are going to drop into these bushings later on when you do your doors. I'm going to show you the easy way to do that as well. And here is your front section where your door is going to be. Notice that I'm on the outside edges of those 2 middle pieces. Very important, you make sure these 2 holes are on your outside edges. If you don't see a circular hole to put one of these bushings in on the outside edge, then you have to take these floor pieces apart, and up to that point at least, and flip it around the floor piece so you have outside edges holes where you can put these 2 bushings in, right there where your doors are going to be. That's where they're going to be. So now I'm taking them out real quick, because you're going to have them out when you start putting your wall panels in, and then you can put them in later. You just tuck them in just like I showed you. Should be okay. Alright, hope this video helps you guys. Another rubber toe assembly section of bubble windows and doors. Take care. Rubber toe over now.